My name is Janine Barghouti. I'm a clinical professional counselor. I'm also a licensed alcohol and drug counselor. I also supervise interns who are getting their drug and alcohol license. I currently work at Carson Tahoe. I supervise all of the therapists and peer supports for inpatient adult psychiatric care, as well as our crisis center for adults.
So just starting off the interview, what kind of drew you to focus on this line of work, just going over like mental health side of things?
Yeah. So originally, what drew me to this work, I think, is just like my own lived experience and the desire to like want to help people in general. Um, I, when I first got out of grad school, I worked in a nonprofit that serviced most rural Nevada, but I also had a contract for the jails in Story County. And then also, after I stopped working there, I had a contract for working in the prison, which was mostly, it was the only prison here in Northern Nevada is for men. And so, after working with like mandated clients as well as people who are incarcerated, I really just kind of found a passion to working with particularly men, but also just kind of like people across the lifespan.
Focusing more on the men's mental health side of things, why do you think men are often like less likely to seek help for mental health concerns?
Very, very good question. I think it's a number of things. First and foremost, I think it's like socialization in general. You know, if you look at like the way that young boys are kind of taught to express their emotions. It's very different. They're kind of uh, taught to kind of like toughen up, or that being emotional is somehow not as uh, it's not as fostered, like in a sense, like with women or like young girls. A lot of times, the burden of being like tough or being masculine is like really embedded in like just general like unconscious messages as well as like societal norms.
A traditional notion of masculinity, how is that impacting men's mental health and men's mental illness?
Yeah, so there's many different forms of masculinity, but if we're talking about just like in our most major like dominant culture, which is like our white American culture, right? I think that's a concept that we think about as far as masculinity. I think that the idea of like being the breadwinner, being the the provider, being the like being successful, like what does that mean? Like what does it look like? Whether it's like, heteronormative couples like get the the best wife, have the kids, have the best job, right? There's a lot of these like pressures that exist.
So just finishing out, what's one thing that you think that everyone should know, not just men or just one kind of group? What's one thing that everybody should know about men's mental health and kind of a broad knowledge thing that you?
One thing that I want everyone to know about mental health is that therapy is not as scary as you think, I guess. Like, even if you don't think that you need a therapist, like, just go to experience it.
Thank you so much for talking with me today. I really appreciate you taking the time.
Yeah, no problem. Thanks for asking.
Yeah. All right. Thank you so much.